As a kid, I was like an admirer. I questioned everything. I loved like the moon and the stars. I scribbled the word love all the time. One thing I liked about church was the sermon, just hearing like the biblical literature and just how it's like relatable to the daily lessons that I was going through. I just was fascinated by that. And I would share like sermons with like friends and family and with my mom. Just had like little aha moments as a kid. Yeah, my faith grew, but I still was very confused. Now with yoga literature, the Yoga Sutra, just admire our ancestors and people who came up with the literature and how it's passed on generation to generation. And so I just love the work of history and how it's been passed on and how I can be a contributor to that. I was just at the lowest point and no goals, nothing. And I literally, like, just the last energy that I had in me, crawled myself into a random yoga class in a local gym down the street. I don't know how I ended up there. I just did. And I was like a group of Caucasian people in Arkansas, and they were older people, and it was like a pretty established group. And so they were pretty far into their practice, and they were like breathing really loud throughout the postures. And I was like, what? Because back in college, when I took yoga, I slept through the whole entire semester. I used it to sleep. That's how like out of whack I was. There's just got to be something more than my physical body, because there's just so many magical things taking place. I just don't believe that it's just the physical form. The cat, the dog, the tree, their spirits, their magic everywhere. So I'm just not convinced that we're just physical forms talking and moving. Like at least 2, 3 people told me, what happened to the fun bow? And so I was like stunned when I heard that. I was like, oh wow. And I actually forgot like who I used to be. I was a social drinker. I had to have like a good amount of drinks in me to socialize. And that was the case for many, many years. And it's common in the Hmong culture, like when we socialize and, we have gatherings, alcohol is involved. Relationships that I've established in the past, and I'm still kind of trying to figure it out. Right now, it's a little tricky. I don't know. I feel like some of my wounds are like fresh, because there's some wounds that I've kind of been working on, and then you discover more wounds, and then they're kind of like still fresh, and it's like I'm very like, I don't know, fragile sometimes when through this healing journey you're discovering a lot of trauma that I've been through. And so kind of just working through that, and then when I kind of mix that with things that tamper with my healing process, it kind of throws me off a little bit. So I don't know, I'm just still kind of figuring it out right now. I still don't often teach, but the practice, I fell in love even more through the program, that I was like, oh my goodness. And through the program, you have to teach too. You have to teach a certain amount of hours. And I would get compliments like, oh wow, I feel so much lighter. And I'd get people saying these things, and I was just like, are you what? I was like stumbling my words. It just felt good sharing the practice. And I was like, you know what? I guess I'm going to teach it too now. So yeah, every now and then I'm like sharing the practice on, social media. I'm in community. I'm at the Fresno Center. I teach there. And then I also teach at my full-time job. Anytime there's like, a 5-minute icebreaker, and I'll teach a quick breathing exercise. For right now, where I'm at in my journey, I am not fully healed. I'm like, had a really rough week. And so I'm still like navigating through things, and, I still have outbursts. I still get angry, upset, say the wrong things, but I kind of just catch myself a little quicker, with a little bit of awareness and shedding that I've done. Just ongoing, and it's like peeling, like I said, and like sometimes it reappears and peeling and then finding something else. The yin and the yang, and there's life, there's both. There's the good and the bad. And so it's just navigating through both and just finding the lessons in both, and kind of figuring it out. The reason why yoga worked for me was because of the physical practice, because I had so much baggage. It was hard for me to hear the light inside me. So with the physical, it's like a physical thing that's happening, right? So it's not something like that I had to read a book and have these discoveries through literature, because when you have a lot of trauma, it's hard for you to be aware. The physical practice, at least, like when I stretch, I'm like, oh, it felt good. And then like the teacher would say this, okay. And then the teacher would say, breathe in and breathe out. The teacher would read a passage in a book, and your awareness is just like slightly opened, and then you're just like, oh, that sounded really sweet. And so it was just the suffering, the hurting, and then just going to yoga and, the physical, and then the physical to internal self reflection, going inwards.